Live. Hi, AO world. How's everybody doing? I am back. A little technical difficulties here. Had this all set up and ready to go. When I came back to my computer, it was all gone. Yeah, some things switched around there. And anyway, good to be back this month. Don't have many questions today, but quick intro for anybody new. I'm Greg D'Amico. I have a software company called Efficients, and we do custom software applications like building e-commerce or mobile app or data integration for smaller and big companies. We do some SaaS work also, building SaaS platforms for people. And that comes on. I went to India in 2004 and I set up my own office over there. That was after being in the investment world for about 20 years. And I started a mutual fund, went from financial planning to money management to starting a mutual fund and then growing that mutual fund to like $1 billion in assets. Rode the wave up from 95 to 2000 and then kind of rode it back down again. Saw the future being connectivity through software because of our investment world, and I ended up wanting to start a software company, so I partnered with somebody, and then I went to India and started an office there with a few people and ended up having like 55 at the high point, and currently have about 33 members over there doing the type of work that we do. Also work on some of my own products, some entrepreneurial endeavors of my own. Very passionate about entrepreneurialism, and I'm a member of EO like Sean. Been in EO since '99 and have done a lot of things with EO programs, learning events, universities, regional events. Been all over the world with EO, met fabulous people, and so being a part of this organization is great for you guys because of the opportunity to network, to talk to people, to have the understanding of similarities about business is not easy. It's difficult, and a lot of times we're in our own space dealing with running a company that is you feel kind of like alone, but when you're sitting down with other entrepreneurs and you're in groups and you're with mentors like this, it's very beneficial to not feel like you're going through this alone on one side, and on the other side that you see other people that have gone through similar type of situations. It gives you encouragement and enthusiasm to stick with it, to persevere and move on and grow your company. So with that, let's get started with some of the questions here. So Carrington Crothers asked, what are ways or key point when organizing and prepping for the upcoming year? Business description and background question. I run a commercialized photography business focusing primarily on product photography. Most of my journey I have just been going with no clear plan or action, winging it, so to speak. Throughout my AO journey thus far, I'm getting more organized with a vision, plan, goals, etc. What are the key areas to focus on when prepping for the new year to set yourself up to go strong? Okay, Carrington, very good question. Because so many of us do wing it. A lot of the entrepreneurial arena is to fly by the seat of your pants. And when we realize that we sit down and we create processes and we do some planning, we figure out what we really put down on paper, what our vision is, a lot of things come together and happen for us. So I'm going to get into a little bit of some of the things I've experienced over time with doing some planning. So first of all, I would look at making sure that you have a BHAG. A BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal. The acronym BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And you can find this material in the book I've referenced many times, one I think is the Bible for business, is a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. It was written back in the late 90s, published in the early 2000s, and it's just a phenomenal book because it describes a lot of what good businesses did to become great. And when you had a sister company that was just like you, that then in the same industry, same type of stuff, and one of them went flatlined with the stock market, but the other one went way up relative to the stock market and to the sister company. When I say sister, I mean it was just a comparable company, a company that's like it. And so you can't say that this was just a symptom of something in the marketplace that was a good industry and did very well. There was companies in there that steel, Nucor Steel was one of them. They had other competitors, but Nucor ran away with its performance compared to the stock market, like the S&P 500, so the average of stocks in general, or to a sister steel company or a company out there that did steel just like Nucor did, but they didn't do the results. So anyway, check out that book, Good to Great. And with that, with having a BHAG, when you have a BHAG is a goal that is out there. It's 10 to 20 years out, 25 years out. That is big. You don't think you can get there. It's bold. It pushes you. It's motivational. It's aligning for your team and the people because you're all coming together to go in this certain direction. An example of a BHAG that's actually not a business BHAG, but John F. Kennedy said in the early 60s that before the end of this decade, we were going to put a man on the moon. And even after he was gone, that vision sunk into the minds of so many people out there that they worked together to create this vision, and they landed on the moon in 1969. So you have things like this in other businesses where they set this goal. We're going to be, Microsoft had a BHAG to have in the 90s or something to have a computer on every desk, and they set out to make sure with software, with laptops, with all the things that people had the ability to drive that the economics of it would work. So when you have a BHAG and you set that goal out there into the world, you can start working back from there. Okay, once you have that BHAG and that vision of where you want to go, you think about it from that, whether say it's a 20-year goal, 15-year goal, doesn't really matter. But what you want to do is you want to start by the next milestone of 3 to 5 years out. Where do I have to be in 3 to 5 years to get to that BHAG? Okay, and if I'm working my way there, what is it going to look like in 3 to 5 years that I've made progress towards, that I will be working my way towards that? Okay, and then you back that up to 1 year. Okay, so where do I got to be in 1 year to get to that 3 to 5 year goal? And then you back that up to 90 days and say, over this next quarter, what am I going to accomplish? And then you back that up to weekly and you say, what's the one thing I'm going to do this week that's going to get me to that 90-day goal, which thus get me to that 1 year goal, which thus get me to the 3 to 5, which thus will get me to my BHAG. Okay, so that's an aspect of how you can do goal setting and looking things out. And you got to remember that all good intentions and good goals put in place, change happens and things happen and so forth. And everybody's probably heard the famous Mike Tyson term, that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And from his perspective, he was like, yeah, you can come out and think that you're going to strategize and beat me, but once I hit you, it takes everything off the table. And so having those plans and working towards them allows you to have a direction, having steps and progress that you make. One of the things about business that has been studied over and over, very in depth for many people, and what they found out is that the number one motivation in business is progress, and probably life too. But the studies that relative to having teams and a company and goals and getting there is having progress. So seeing that progress. And that's why when you back it up to like, what am I going to do this week? When you get that one thing done this week that's going to help you get to your 90-day goal, that is motivational. It's exciting. It builds on itself, and it keeps you going, keeps that momentum going and getting you in that direction. As Jim Collins talks about in his book, that's what helps to push the flywheel. Flywheel is this big, heavy, multi-ton, 20 feet long, and you can think about it as it's big and heavy, and you get a bunch of people standing behind it trying to push it in a direction. And if you think about a lot of times, a company that's trying to push on his flywheel, they've got people standing on one side of it pushing, and they got people standing on the other side pushing. And that's what, when you have misalignment, you have people like not knowing what other parts of the company, other people are doing in the company. They're pushing against each other, and they're causing that glue that clogs you up and causes you to not have the progress that you're looking for. So when you get this BHAG in place, that's aligning. It gets people moving in the right direction, gets people pushing on a flywheel, and so forth. That gets you going to the right places. So I would look at some of those types of things of how you think about your planning. And doing all of that, doing everything I talked about is one step. There's different things out there. Vern Harnish has, from the Rockefeller Habits. He was one of the founders of EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and his company, Scaling Up. He's got a book called Rockefeller Habits, got a book called Scaling Up that talks about how to run your company, to have rhythms, to have how you run meetings, and how you get places that could be very beneficial. But they talk about this, and he has a one-page plan where you mark out everything on that plan. You have your BHAG on the plan, you have your 3 to 5, you have your 1 year, and so forth. It helps you kind of start getting those ideas down on paper, getting everybody in the team to see them, and then everybody working towards them. So with that, let's see what we're going to do. So, and it's also good to somewhat simplify it. When I said for the week, the one thing, it's like you got 13 weeks in a quarter. So if you've got your team committed and showing up in a weekly meeting, saying that what's the one thing I'm going to do this week to get to my quarterly goal, and then you got everybody who's got like a goal for the quarter, and everybody that has their goal for the quarter is helping you to ultimately get to the company quarterly goals. Then that, if you got one thing you have to do, and you come to the meeting, you tell people what you're going to do, and then you come back to next week's meeting, did you get it done? And are you and then what are you going to do next week? When you have that environment, kind of peer pressure environment, that you come in and you tell people what you're doing, and everybody else has to tell what to do. When you come to that next week meeting, you have some people that didn't get it done, but they don't want to show up week after week not telling you that to everybody else, all their peers, that they didn't get it done. And with that, it creates some sense of motivation and ability to get it, because people don't want to be the ones on the outs not making things happen. So just a few tricks of alignment, of getting of painting that picture of where you're going and determining what that's going to look like, which you can back into a lot of these other aspects and get some good ideas. And remember, if you set your goals and you only get to 70, 80, or 90% of them, you have made a lot of progress, especially when you have a really good BHAG. So thanks, Carrington, for the question. Hope that helped. Next question is Kimberly Vincent. Kimberly asks, how can I reach more prospects in a quicker time frame? Business description and background of question. Serene Workforce offers virtual care, information webinars, and on-site massage therapy for large companies in Canada. We solve problems related to employee stress and pain management for increased productivity and corporate bottom lines. I am the company at this point. Want your opinion on how I can ramp up sales faster. What would you do in order to reach more prospects faster? So that sentence there was a little bit off. I think she was saying her being in the company and what she's done at this point, she wants to figure out how to increase sales. So what it sounds like to me is that, don't know what you're doing now. You didn't say what you're doing now, but I'll give you some thoughts on what I would be doing right now if I was in your situation. So you're in Canada, you're going after companies and so forth, bigger corporate companies, it sounds like. So my avatar would look like something would be the HR director, the HR head of respective companies, and going after that person to communicate your message. Now, how do you do that? It can be done in a couple different ways, well, a variety of ways, but a couple different ways I'd focus on is one, I would get email list for these HR people, and I would send them an email that talks about your services, but gets them to click on a link that takes them to a funnel. You may have heard of a company called ClickFunnels out there. Russell Brunson has been marketing like crazy, making all kinds of money with what he does. But this ClickFunnels approach, I've dug in deeper into it, and I feel it is very attractive for how you market your any respective business. And what a funnel is just taking somebody to a page, and they get to that page. And it's not a complete website page. It's a single page with one objective, is that you read what's in it, and then you need to do something. What do you need to do? Do you give your email address? Do you get your email address from them? Do you get them to click on something else that takes them to another page that gets them more information? So a funnel is really just a series of pages, okay, that take you from one step down to another step, down to another step, to ultimately a goal of providing somebody your product or service. And you're helping them when you allow people to be motivated by buying your services or your products, because you're giving them something of value that's going to help them in their lives, in their companies, and so forth. So I would start with an email list that gets them something. Okay, what is it that you can on in that funnel that you could get them? You can get them a blog post or an article or your webinar that you talked about how your services help them. So one step in a funnel is they could get this link that goes to the webinar. And the webinar provides information, but the webinar should also provide the ability to sell something to somebody, selling your services, or the next step of reaching out and calling one of your people to have the consultation of how to work with you. So it's just those steps of what you're trying to accomplish. Another way to do this in similar fashion would be to target this audience of buying ads online. Is it Facebook ads? Is it Google ads? That's relative to your industry and talking to the right people that can help you. But when you target those ads, that could lead them into your funnel again, which would lead them down that path of buying, of going through the process of at least giving you information, giving their contact, showing that they have an interest. That helps build your audience and the contact to that audience that you can market to over and over again, at a very cost-effective way. So remember, it's got to lead to some type of call to action. When you get them to come, when you get the ads out there and they come in, call to action could be getting an email would be the first step. And then from there, getting them to read an article, or you get them to give you your email by giving them the article, giving them the webinar, like I was saying before, and having that to take them down a path. It may be able to sell your product. In this situation, it'd be a little bit more of a consultative type sale. Okay, I'm not sure about what you're doing, but you're helping people out with this stress and this pain management. I don't know if a webinar can just sell that by itself, or it sells it on the idea of them coming and talking to you more. So whatever the case may be, you just want to get them to your funnel, and you want to go after them and making sure you're going after the right person, the right target HR person. What size companies do you work for? Do you work with? Ultimately, so what's your best client look like? And is that company in the size of 1 to 10? Is it 10 to 50? Is it 50 to 500? Is it companies that have of 500 or more, or 1,000 or more? And when you know your best target customer, then you are going to go out and find more like them, and you can do lookalike audiences within like Facebook and so forth, and target and really zero in on these people. But the key is determining who your target person is and going after them. Okay, Kimberly, hope that helps. Okay, we've got a series of questions from Quade Sturdy. Quade asks, how do you balance honesty and giving out too much info? Business description and background question. I am the leader of Sturdy Construction Company, the most in-depth construction company on the planet. I am curious where to draw the line of being honest with sub-trades, clients, suppliers. I believe honesty is the best way to approach situations. However, I feel as if I've complicated situations by providing unnecessary details. I think it's rooted in a desire to educate clients, but I feel as though I am wasting energy. So your gut is telling you something here, Quade. It's telling you that you may be talking too much. Okay, so what would be an option for you here? It's not as much about what you say, but the questions that you ask. I would be looking at asking more questions to clients, getting on their stage, talking about the principles from the Maddox principle that I'm a product that I'm working on with Eric Maddox, the guy who caught Saddam Hussein, and he was an interrogator, and he did it with empathetic listening, as opposed to waterboarding or some other forced situation. He was able to get people to open up. That was basically our enemy. That got them to talk, and through one interrogation after another, ultimately led to the bodyguard who knew where Saddam Hussein was. So what Eric talks about is being on that person's stage. We all are the actors of our own movie, okay? And all these other people out here around us, family, friends, business owners, they are co-actor, or they're actors in our movie, but we are the lead character. So there are all other characters in the movie, and what you find out from Eric's material is that being on that person's stage. Are you on that person's stage, or are you on your stage? So many of the times in situations like this, you start talking to somebody, and you ask them a few questions, and they say, "Yeah, like I need a contractor that's going to build me a house that does this." And then soon, now they're on their stage, right? They're talking about their house and what they want. What we tend to do as people trying to provide a product, trying to educate, and so forth, is we jump right back to our stage. Oh, yes, Mr. Client, we build houses like that. We can do this for you. We build great houses. You should see all the houses that we've built. You should see all the clients that we have. You should see this, that, and the other, and the quality that we do, and on and on. What did I just do? Is I took them from their stage to my stage. And if you're going to build the highest level of trust with somebody, they need to stay on their stage. Okay? So when it comes down to that point of you start asking some questions, you gotta have the discipline to stay on their stage for a while and understand them, really figure out what they're trying to accomplish, drill into that. And when somebody realizes that you're really understanding them and you get them, you're going to build trust at a higher level, which is going to make the process of selling so much easier. So as you're saying about talking a lot, how much do you learn by talking? Okay? You don't learn anything from talking. You learn from listening. So asking questions that's going to allow you to understand the client and go deeper. When the client says, "I want a house," you say, "Oh, yeah, we build great houses. We give houses. We've built hundreds, and they're the best house that's ever made, and they last forever." That's not where you go. "So, Mr. Client, you want a house?" "Yeah, I was thinking about building a house, and I've seen some." "Oh, well, where have you seen some houses? What do they look like? What is it that you want in this house? How many floors do you want it to have? Is there anything special about this house? Is there something in your life that you've done that you've seen somebody else's house that you would like to have in your house to make it feel as warm and as special to you as it could possibly be?" And you drill and you drill and you drill. And when they say things, okay, what Eric calls breadcrumbs, as they talk, you'll hear key words coming out of them that you want to follow up on and continue. "Well, tell me more about that, Mr. Client. You said something about really feeling that you really wanted to have a cozy bathroom." "Okay, well, what is it about a bathroom that you were going to find as cozy? Is it having heated tile floors when you walk up and automatically turn on? It's automatically heated when you go into that bathroom. Is having a steam room or a sauna in that bathroom something that's going to make it cozy for you? What is it, when you say cozy, what is it about that you are wanting to accomplish?" And as you continue to understand them and get to that world of where they're coming from, you then will not, you won't have to worry about being too honest because you're going to build trust at a much higher level. And then when you come back that you need to start saying something, they're going to be, oh yeah, I'm all about this person. Even without you talking, they're going to be, I'm all about you because you got to know them, you understand them. This person gets me is what they're going to be thinking. And when you feel like somebody gets you, you don't even need to tell me the price. You don't even need to tell me that how good you are. If you get me, we're going to work together. Okay, so think about things like that going forward and when your communications with people and the rest of you also, anybody else that's watching this, it's very key. And I'm excited about what we're doing to be putting out there in the world to help change lives by building trust and influence with the people in your life. So Quade, sturdily ask another question. What are our side hustles a distraction? Business description and background of question is Sturdy Construction is the most effective and in-depth construction company on the planet. We offer the most in-house services on the market. I keep doing market research on tasks outside of my regular scope. I am okay with this as I love to learn. However, countless mentors preach on focus on a niche. I am bad at this, and I consider any niche to be entire business assemblies. I feel like I may be making excuses for not staying focused on by lying to myself that it's relevant info to learn. How do you choose to set a group of knowledge to obtain? Thank you. So yes and yes and yes and yes to all the things you said. Yes, that it's a distraction. Yes, being out of focus is not a good thing. Is being not having a niche, is that a problem? Yes, it's a problem. So I heard a story that Vern Harnish, who I talked about earlier, said in one of his blogs years back. He talked about a marketing company. Now, if you're a marketing company and you provide services to help businesses grow, who could be your client? Just about any business out there. And a lot of marketing companies languish and because they're trying to be everything to everybody. Well, Vern had a relationship with an EO member out of Nashville that set up a marketing company that only did business with law firms. And by the fact that this company focused on law firms, that when he got a client and did so well with them, they would talk to other people and in the other communities, usually other geographic regions, and tell them, yeah, this marketing company works only with lawyers, and they're so good at it, and they know all the issues about being a lawyer. They know how to they know how to tell our story. They know who our clients are and type of clients we're looking for, and they know how to go after them. When you can tell that story of working in a particular niche, it is so much more advantageous for you than it is, because you don't want everybody as a client. You want the best potential customers that are your target customer as clients. And so my son has a construction company. So I went to he did these networking meetings, and I went to some of them, and he would stand up and say, yeah, I do commercial work, I do residential work, I can build houses, I can do remodeling, I can do this, that, and the other. And I said to him, when you try to be everything to everybody, you are going to be, it's going to end up being nothing. It's like when you market to everybody, you're going to end up with very little. So look at that as what can you focus on. Now, going outside and learning some different things that's going to help in your business is all right, but when you market to people, that's where the difference lies. Okay, you can do multiple things in construction, you can know how to do multiple things, but how you market to people is where you don't want to tell them that you can do everything. You want to focus on a certain area. Do you want to work residential? Okay, that's as opposed to commercial. That could be one option. Within residential, what do you want to do? We build $1 million houses, $1 million plus houses. That's all we do. And when you get good at that, and the marketplace gets to know you as the person who builds $1 million houses, when people wants to build $1 million house, they're going to come to you because you're going to be known for this. You're going to be talked about. Somebody who has $1 million house usually has other friends that have $1 million houses, and when they want a house built, they're going to come to this house and say, "Wow, who built your house?" And yeah, he's the guy. He just builds for high end houses that successful people want to have, whatever it be. You may be the guy that builds, does remodel or does flips for people. You could be the flip guy that does flips for 250,000 homes and less. That's where you've niched it out. You do flips, you get in, you renovate, you know how to work this world, and then you move on. And so you're going to become known as the flip guy that goes out and gets it done and fast. And because it's a flip, people got capital invested. They bought the house, they got invested. They're going to add to it. They want to get out of it. So they want somebody that's going to come in and do a really good job. Anyway, look at your world that way and figure out how to niche yourself out from a marketing perspective. You can do more things. You can have more things. It's not to say that if you do focus on something that you can't have a few projects going on over here, but who you are telling yourself you are to the public is what is really important. And their perception of who you are is what is going to build that story and that synergistic client, the client that look alike. You know, what this one client is going to have friends that look like them, and they're going to refer you out because you were the one that did something at a certain level. Anyway, take that and see what you can drill down on to be in a more focused world. Okay, so Quade Sturdy asks another question: how do you remain patient with your goals? Business description and background question. I am the most effective and in-depth construction company on the planet. I am curious about the methods people use to remain patient and focused on goals. I want to accomplish a lot with my company. However, my mind wants to get it all done tomorrow. I feel my sense of urgency is what drives me to always improve. On the flip side, I may be doing myself a disservice by being so scattered. Thank you. As I said before, in what I talked about with the goals maybe some help to you. Okay, could be some steps and parts of that you contemplate could also work in your world. But as I said before, the number one thing that that makes people motivated is when they see progress in the world that they're in. Are you seeing progress in what you're doing and how you're doing it? Okay, that is a key part when it comes to goals. And so you said patient and focused on my goals, want to accomplish a lot with my company. So what is it that how do you remain patient with your goals? Well, patience can come. You can have more patience when you see that you're making progress. So that's one way to look at it. Okay, when you're doing things that you feel like you are growing. So when you set goals that I was talking about before, like the 1 year goals, the 90-day goals, and the 1 week goal, when you have that the one thing I'm going to do this week that's going to get me towards my 90-day goal, when you look at that, evaluate it, determine what it is, and making sure you're taking steps that's going to get you there. 1 week it could be you need to make a phone call to somebody and have a conversation. The next week that goal could be that you got to write a report out or you got to do something else. The next week is that you may have to find a connection through somebody else, so you have to call a few people to get that connection to somebody that's going to help you do something. So the next week it may be like you have to interview somebody that you need to hire that's going to allow you to get to that goal. So what are those steps that you're taking? And when you take those steps, you're going to feel like you're getting progress, which means you're going to feel like you're moving forward and going in a positive direction, which kind of takes away some of that anxiety I think you were talking about, or the impatience you were talking about when it comes to getting our goals done. So work on that in the sense of what are some of the things. You don't have to be detailed in writing out have a huge 50 page on a legal pad, 50 steps on a legal pad that you need to accomplish today. And if you don't get them done, you're going to feel bad. So go back to that process that I talked about with the BHAG, the 5 year, the 1 year, the 90-day, the week. What's the one thing I'm going to do this week? When I get that done, that's going to take care of so many other things that I don't have to worry about. I got 20 things, 10 things, 20 things, 30 things on my to-do list that I'm going to knock out today. And if I don't, then I feel bad about myself, and I get impatient, and I get out of sorts, and so on and so forth. So figure out those few key things that are most important, and when you do, those will take you down a path of accomplishment, of progress, of feeling better, which then kind of builds on itself, and you build momentum, and you end up getting more things done and getting to where you want to go. Okay? I hope that helped, Quade. Thanks for all the questions. Again, this approach with having mentors and looking at a network of people that allow you to interact with them and talk through problems and so forth is so amazing and so great. So excited for you guys out there that are listening and doing this. It's huge, and I enjoy doing these sessions. I feel like I've been around the world with people in business and experiences that I can help with, but I'm only a small piece of it. All the other mentors coming together gives you a world of knowledge that can be so impactful on advancing your business, where instead of having to do it, trial and error and getting knocked down and learning that wasn't the right thing to do, you can get rid of some of those mistakes by listening to the mentors, looking at the experience share that they're having, and utilizing that to make better decisions. So with that, till next month, enjoy your progress, enjoy your movement forward, and we'll talk to you then. Take care.